Hi, Joe Anderson here. I had a couple friends contact me about some knife handle modifications on the Bushman. Um, Go ahead and scroll down. I've got a few of them done up with some cord wraps, and then this is medical tape. You can also use athletic tape. I'm actually going to show how to do this one. It's basically so I can get edge orientation with the knife. The Bushmans are a really great knife. The two things they're lacking are nothing to keep your hand from sliding up onto the blade if you stab with it, and there's not really anything on the handle to tell where the edge is oriented. This is a single strand of paracord that I looped back around to give me a good edge reference on this Bowie Bushman, and then I took some of the athletic tape or medical tape and rolled it into a strip and then just taped it in place, so I've got a tactile. Even with my eyes closed, I can still figure out where the edge is for cutting or use in some other applications. So without further ado, I will get into how to do the tape on the handle. Basically, cut the tape about the length of the handle, and the best thing I've found is to actually put it sticky side down and then roll it back on itself. And I'm actually going to make that a little bit thicker. Bear with me for just a minute. So, going about that long. So now I've got my piece to go on here. The reason these are taped up is I just did the handle wraps on these two, and I've got some extra blue tape just for safety, because knives slip when you're taping them, and I've got a really nice scar, no feeling in half of my thumb from previous experience with it slipping. You always want to tape the blade up, so I'm going to do that real quick. And just about any tape will do. I've got this blue tape laying around from doing some Kydex work. There's a ton of other tapes you can use, but this was readily accessible in my pile of junk, so that's what I'm using. Generally speaking, on the point, I like to put some extra so it's not going to poke through. 2 layers of tape seem to work best for whatever tape you do use. And just try and conform the tape to the shape of the blade. Make sure it sticks down good. The reason I had to get the stitches was because I had a piece of cardboard with a little bit of tape, maybe that much of the blade was actually engaged by the tape, and it pushed out of the way when I was trying to pull a cord wrap similar to this knot tight. This doesn't have any edge orientation. This is just so this will stay in the aftermarket sheet that I got for this Bushman. But now my blade's all taped up. I can't cut myself with it, so taping this in place. We're laying the roll in line with the blade, and then taking a couple of pieces to hold it in place while we wrap it a little bit tighter. With doing the tape wrap on it, you still have access to the hollow handle if you store any supplies in there. I tend not to keep anything in the handle of the knife just because I don't. I've usually got a pouch with all those odds and ends, fire starter, water purification tablets, and other stuff that you would end up putting in the handle potentially. You can also do this so the screw hole that's on the handle, which is right about where my fingertip is still exposed. It's covered on both of these. That way you don't have to take any of the tape off if you want to mount this on a longer shaft, if you're trying to cut fruit out of a tree or whatever, or make a spear. So now that I've got that taped in place, I just take some of this medical tape and start wrapping around. And once I get the first full wrap around the handle, I'm going for about half of the next layer being covered. And it only takes a little bit of tape to get this set up to be a fairly durable modification for everyday carry or an emergency pack. And then at the end, I just try and get it wrapped around flush with about an extra wrap. So now I've got a way to orient the blade in my hand in the dark, or without having to actually look at the knife and adjust where it's at. I can tactically feel where my edge is pointed if I need to line it up for a chop, a slice, or if I'm just doing baton work to split kindling. Makes the knife a lot more user friendly. It's still not set up for any kind of thrusting if you're thinking of having this as a defensive blade, but the modification definitely helps with the overall usability of the knife. It's less likely to roll in your hand because your blade's not oriented at the right plane of whatever cut you're trying to make. Thanks, I hope you enjoyed it.